Welcome to Chasing Hard podcast, where we talk about trusting God when life doesn't turn out the way you planned. Today, it's just me, just like it's been the last several times. Apologize for last week. Didn't have a podcast due to technical difficulties. I was trying to post a favorite podcast that I had in the past with a little bit of an introduction, and it didn't work for technical difficulty reasons. I couldn't figure it out. It's probably a user error, me being the user. I couldn't get it to my editor, which was really super weird. But that's what happened. Again, just me this time, and my heart is heavy. Not gonna lie, I have a heavy heart today for a few reasons. Disappointment being one of the main reasons. And I know you get it because we've all been disappointed. If you've been alive for any amount of time, you have had a situation or two where life didn't turn out the way you planned. And sometimes it's because of disappointment. Whether it comes from the fact that a Christian brother or sister told you they would do something and they didn't. Maybe it wasn't a big deal, but maybe it was a big deal. Maybe there was a favor that you didn't even ask for. Maybe they volunteered to do something for you. So you were depending on that thing to take place, but it didn't happen. It was never mentioned again. And it was up to you to choose to how you were going to respond. Which, let's be honest, it's always up to us to choose how to respond to any situation that doesn't turn out the way we plan. Maybe even it was like a business transaction that you paid the person to do what they told you they would do. And it's not that they just didn't do everything they said they were going to do, or they didn't hold up their end of the deal. And they didn't mention it. They didn't reach out. They didn't give you reasons. Well, let me back up. Maybe they did. Maybe you gathered the words to say. I'm not even going to say courage. It doesn't even take courage to approach someone about doing something, not doing something they promised to do, they said they would do. So you gathered the words, you decided how you wanted to approach the situation, and you did. And the person was not put off exactly, but they assured you they were going to do the job. It wasn't in their character not to do the job. And so they made another attempt, and then they just dropped the ball. And perhaps 10 days had passed. Like, just hypothetically, of course. And so then you get to decide what you're going to do next. It's kind of where I'm at, hypothetically. Not really. It's kind of where I'm at. I am in a position where I have to decide how to approach the situation again, and then how to proceed, because it's something that needs to be done. And so I need to figure out how to do it. And that's where I'm at. And it's a disappointment and a little bit of a disillusionment. Like, why don't people just do what they say they're going to do? I didn't ask this person to cut the deal they made. It was a good deal on the work that needed to be done. I didn't ask them for that. They offered. I accepted. They didn't follow through. And so part of me, because they offered a really good deal, feels somewhat, it's harder to ask if they're going to do what they say they were going to do because they cut you a deal. Was that the plan? Why does life have to be so complicated? Right? The other situation, and there are a few, but I just spent a good chunk of the day with a parent, with a close friend who's a parent. She's a mother of grown children, of adult children. Um, I have I have friends that have younger children, and they're looking forward to the day when their kids will be grown and out of the house because life will be easier. They say, right? They say we who have had older adult children out of the house say, yeah, life will be easier. It's not. It's different. Life is different, but not always easier. Maybe it's easier in some ways. And we've talked about that, the many phases of life and how different phases require different amounts of time and energy. And adult children require amounts of time and energy. And as a parent, you wouldn't have it any other way. I love my children. They are the greatest gifts ever. And I don't have grandkids yet, so I can't compare. I hear they are the greatest gifts ever. But until I know that firsthand, I'm going to have to go with my kids are the greatest gifts that I have been given. And I would give my life for my kids. Most parents would. But what if, and no, not but, there's not a but. You love your kids with everything within you, and you want the best for them, and you want better for them than you had. And you try really hard when they're young to raise them in the ways that maybe I don't want to say wish you were raised because I love my parents and they weren't perfect parents. Um, so not the ways that I wish I was raised, but there are things in our lives that are missing as individuals. We're individuals, and therefore we need to be parented as individuals and not as a rule. And I think times have changed, and we as parents know that these days that we are called upon to parent our children, each individual child, the way they need to be parented. It's that good enough parenting, once again, where you don't have to be an amazing, awesome parent. You just have to be good enough. Good enough for this child, good enough for this child, good enough for this. When you meet their needs, and their needs are different. And so we try to do and be the best parents we can do and be. And we live in a fallen world, and we are flawed creatures, and we can't be everything for our kids that they need. We can't. We weren't created that way. That's why we have a savior. That's why Jesus came. We each need Jesus individually. We need him definitely as we're parenting. And so this parent that I spent time with today, this mother's heart is broken because her child lives in a different state, and not even a close state, neighboring state, a few states away. And her child is suffering. Her child is in trouble. Her child is angry. Her adult child wants nothing to do with the mother, but wants her mother to bail her out. It's a precarious situation. How do you win? How do you parent? How do you meet the child where they are, but do it in a healthy manner where you're not enabling the child to continue in unhealthy behaviors? And this child has some unhealthy behaviors going on. And this child is about to become homeless. And this mother's heart is broken because this child just keeps pushing her away. It's hard, hard stuff. And this friend is a strong woman, and I've known her most of my life, and I don't know that I've ever seen her cry. And I talked to her on the phone last week, and I heard her cry. And I sat there today and watched her cry unapologetically because her heart is breaking. And so my parent is or this parent, my friend, this parent is recovering in a recovery program, recovering from various things in her life, and works really hard to be mindful and intentional and to find the balance of where her child needs to take responsibility and where she can step in. And so my friend has decided to take a week of vacation and drive to the city where her daughter lives and see what happens. And so she and her daughter have text back and forth, and the daughter's angry and telling her mother she doesn't care, and she's abandoned her, and no mother should ever abandon her child. And the mother's trying to stay in her lane and reinforce what she's already offered. I've offered to help you in this way, in this manner, because I think that's the best thing. And the child is resisting. But at the end of this text situation, the mother simply says, I will always be here for you. I love you. I'm coming on thus and such date to your city to be available to you, to help in the way that I've already offered. And the child responded, okay. Okay, that's it. But those words were a healing balm. They weren't words, they were one word. They were two letters, O and K. It was healing to this mother's heart because she desperately wants to be there for her child. She also knows she can't bail her out. So I don't know what's going to happen. I was invited to go and I'm not going to be able to. And I'm not even sure it's a good thing for her to have another person with her unless it's the other parent. And so I've asked to be kept in the loop. When she goes, I want to know. And then when she's there, when she gets back, I want to be there for my friend. Emotionally, even though I can't be there present with her in body form. That's hard. And I know as I'm talking that I'm talking to some of you who get it, who understand, who have tried desperately maybe to make up for things that you weren't able to do when they were growing up. Let me just say you did the best you could with what you had. We've all fallen short. We've all failed in all areas of our lives. There is now no condemnation if you're in Christ Jesus. You did the best you can, Mom. You did the best you can. And so to move forward and do the best you can, meeting the child where they are in a healthy manner is a good thing. And I honor my friend as a mother in doing and standing strong and standing firm and doing the best thing for both of them, because it truly is the best thing for the daughter. And I have another friend who's going through a similar situation with a daughter who struggles with mental health issues. And finally, the daughter is in a good place, getting to a really good place. But it's hard to watch your child struggle. I don't care how old they are or what the circumstances are that surround the trouble. I often say, and maybe I've said it here, I just wanted a baby. When I was desperately wanting to become a mother, and all of my friends were mothers for the first and second and third time, and I just wanted to be able to get pregnant and for whatever reason wasn't able to. I just wanted a baby. And then I had a baby, had 3. And again, the greatest blessings of my life. But you don't anticipate the things that you're going to have to deal with. You don't anticipate in your mind's eye as you're dreaming about what life will be like, the problems you encounter as a parent, the incidents, the situations, the character the characteristics, character traits, the individual personalities, the things that you are going to be called upon to deal with. You don't envision those things. You just envision the sweet little baby. And maybe that's God's design, because if we could see into the future and see all the things that we would have to deal with, would any of us ever have kids? Probably, because they're the greatest blessings, and they give you grandkids, I hear, in theory. They do, right? And that's a good thing. Wherever you're at today in your parenting, and maybe you're nowhere near any of these things that I've described, and good kudos to you. Enjoy that. And maybe you'll never be anywhere near where I have described. Enjoy that. Be grateful for that. Don't forget to be grateful. And even if you are going through the situations that are hard and even harder than what I've described, gratitude goes a long way. Maybe not changing the situation, but changing how you view it and changing your heart toward it. I'm here to encourage you to keep doing what you know to do and trusting God, even when life isn't turning out the way you planned, even when your children's lives aren't turning out the way you planned, even when the circumstances that you prayed desperately for aren't turning out the way you planned in the timing in which you planned it. Don't give up hope, friend. There's always, I was gonna say there's always tomorrow, but there's not. There's not always tomorrow. And that's the problem that some of you are facing. There isn't going to be a tomorrow. And I'm so sorry for that. But there's always hope, because God is always working on your behalf. Even when you don't see it or feel it or think he is. Stand firm, friend. Trust God even when life doesn't turn out the way you planned. Because in the end, it's all there really is. It's all we really have, a hope in a God who is far greater than we can imagine and loves us and our children far more than we know. Well, thank you for joining me today. I hope to have guests soon. Things just keep happening. But the plan is guests soon. I will be back next week. I hope you are too.